Well, we are honored with a pair of special guests here. Allison O'Toole, who's in charge of Second Harvest Heartland, a thing that is very important to everybody who knows this guy. Timberwolves coach Chris Finch, thank you both for coming in tonight.
Well, appreciate it. Thanks for having us in.
All right, first, let's talk about last night.
Yeah.
And obviously it wasn't the way you wanted things to go down, but it was another step for this team, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think as I said on the way in here, right now our losses should have been wins, which is in some way like a good sign of growth, and it gives us opportunity to fix some things too as we go forward. These types of games where we have won against really good opponents, you can't beat yourself with the 21 turnovers and the sloppy play down the stretch, but putting yourself in a position to control that game. That's certainly something that we take a lot of confidence and continue to take confidence in being able to play this way all season long. And we've been good for the most part in clutch moments, but last couple games that we've played, Boston and this game, we feel we've let slip.
All right. Well, you're here to promote Second Harvest Heartland, and there is a huge thing coming up, Allison, that you have a week from Monday. A huge announcement to try to figure out a way to basically wipe out hunger.
Yeah, so about a week from tomorrow, I
Right.
guess, we're going to have a huge announcement.
The 29th?
Yeah, the 29th, we're going to come out with a big, bold goal for this community. And, in the last year, we continue to see food shelf visits rise. So 2 years ago, we were at about 3.5 million. This year, we're projected to be over 7 million.
Wow.
It is unacceptable. We can do better. And coaches on our board, and our board has challenged us to be bold and brave right now as one of the largest nonprofits to get ahead of this. We can do this. The status quo is just not an option.
Coach, you've got so much on your plate, pardon the pun,
Yeah.
but here you are giving your time, becoming a board member. I mean, that's kind of unheard of for somebody that's a head coach in the NBA. Why has this been so important for you to step up like this?
Well, there was a lot of synergy when I came to town, and Allison and I, we actually went to college together back in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And so we hadn't maintained. We were in the same friend group. We have a lot of common friends, and we hadn't maintained contact. But when I came here, we kind of reached out, and when I found out what she did and I was looking to get involved in the community, there was no better place. So that's first. So we got the right person, and I got the right person to get behind in Allison. And then the mission, I mean, it's just so critical. As the leading nation in the world, like it's pretty embarrassing that we have these gaps in our ability to help and provide for each other. And it's just something that to me was a must do, and she makes it easy for me. My commitments are trying to raise as much profile as I can, but they do a lot of the heavy lifting, and we have incredible leadership on the board and with Allison.
But speaking of heavy lifting, you were up there with Alex Rodriguez packing potatoes a couple months ago. I mean, you're not just a figurehead; you get right into
Well, I
this
mean,
stuff.
it's like we tell the players: stick to your strengths. I can pack potatoes, I can pack onions. I think I've done apples too.
You've done apples,
yeah, so
yeah.
I've hit for the cycle.
And Allison, how important is that when you have people like that step up and provide visibility? Alex Rodriguez, co-owner of the franchise, he's got a few other things to do than sort potatoes.
Yeah, it means so much. And, Coach comes in whenever he can to help us. So that's not his first time packing potatoes,
I know.
which
We've
is
seen
so
him there
good.
lots of times.
But it makes a difference when there are people who have a high profile, a high community profile. Obviously, Coach is having a heck of a season this year, and he can elevate our cause in a way that we can't do by ourselves. So it means so much, and I just am so personally grateful to Coach too that he has jumped on board with us. When he came to town, I was like, oh, I might have an assignment for him. But he does it willingly and very authentically, and we are so grateful.
Yeah, you knew it meant something to Alex because he brought his daughters with him, right? To kind of show him that, and you do that with your players, and the Lynx does that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And Alex had reached out and he said he really wanted to be involved, and it was right around Thanksgiving, I think, and he had his entire family in town, extended family as well, and they all came, and it just, again, it just creates a little bit more of a bond with our community, and we're very passionate supporting all of our players' causes in the community, and our coaches are out in the community. We've challenged them to be in the community, and it's a very important piece of being a leading organization in the community is being visible and giving back in any way you can. So.
All right. Speaking of giving back, Anthony Edwards gave the ball back to himself. I mean, I have never seen anything like this. Here it is. You're sitting there on the bench. What was going through your mind when he attempted this?
Well, first of all, I'd say this. We've been on him to pass the ball more. I just didn't realize it would be to himself. So, but I've seen him do this in practice, believe it or not. So when it was unfolding, I was like, I think I know what he's going to do. Oh, no. Oh, yeah, there we go. Yeah. I mean, spectacular play. It takes great feel and, of course, great athleticism. But what it takes more than anything is great guts to be able to do it. Because if it doesn't work, it looks, it's a spectacular fail. But he's an amazing player, and he's got the confidence that you want in a young superstar.
Yeah, either way, he was going to get on SportsCenter.
Yeah.
Whether it went in or it did not work.
Right, exactly.
It wasn't going to work. But this team, there's so many people out there that are surprised where you are. Yeah. And the one thing Mike Conley said earlier was that it's all about defense. From day one, that was your number one message to them. Yeah. And it's worked, but how has it worked?
Yeah, I think it had to be all about defense, because when we came out of last season, we really decided, like, we didn't have an identity. What was our identity going to be, So through the summer, we figured out, like, what was our message to the team going to be on day one when we came back to the camp. It had to be about defense. We have a lot of guys who are really good at defense, led by Rudy Gobert, Jaden McDaniels, Anthony Edwards. These guys, Mike Conley, Nikhil, all these guys are guys who play defense at a very high level. Kyle Anderson. And we just had to lean into that as our identity. And then we add the personnel, being as tall and as long as we are, and playing with the two centers at times, much of the time. We figured, like, we should be really dominant in and around the paint. And this resonated with our guys. We knew we could do it. It's something, defense is one of those things that actually creates, like, a bond amongst your team, because you have to do it together. It takes communication, it takes a sacrifice, and it takes multiple efforts. And those were all things at times, like, we didn't necessarily do last year as we were trying to figure it out. So, but yeah, that's really what it came down to, and the guys picked up that, and all of training camp was just about defense. So.
And it's something that everybody can do, right? You may not have your shot that night, but defense is just about commitment, right?
I mean, it definitely is, and in an NBA, it's, of course, it's very a lot of defenses are very tricky. There's a lot going on there, different types of coverages. I mean, in football, it's like you're running a different type of blitz maybe every single time. You might have things going on out there according to personnel. It's very fast moving. It's why oftentimes when you see in the NBA something that totally breaks down, the breakdowns look really, really bad because it's pretty intricate. So just learning each other, that takes time. Anytime you make these seismic changes to your roster, like we did last year with bringing in Rudy, it just takes time. It just does. LeBron goes to Miami. The first year is pretty meh. Then the next year they win a championship. So it takes time for these things to kind of bed in, guys to get comfortable with themselves and their teammates and whatever the new philosophy is.
All right. About the way your players have matured.
Yeah.
They played in international play this summer, and Ant got to be the star of the U.S. Yeah. Rudy, of course, he loves France, and he's always there. And even Kat got involved.
Yes.
How much do you think that has helped the three? Because it seems like they share the ball now, and maybe it's just like you said, it takes time.
Yeah.
But I think that kind of pushed you down the road a bit. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think it does. It did. I mean, we're huge proponents of our players playing for their national teams. It's just the experience is always different, and their role will be different. Like, so they may be able to expand their role or take on more leadership or more pressure. For Anthony, it gave him the confidence to come back and said, I was the top dog on that team, and it kind of set him up for the consistency of approach that he needed coming into this season. For Cat, he just needed to get his mojo back. Like, he had missed 50 games last year, was hurt. He needed to get out there, be the focal point of everything that was going to happen with the Dominican team, feel the ball a lot, touch the ball a lot, just kind of get his rhythm and his confidence back. And so that objective was achieved. And quite honestly, with Rudy, they have a massive task in front of them. They're trying to medal in the Olympics in Paris this summer. So it was a disappointing summer for them because they got knocked out of the World Cup early, but it gave him a chance to rest. And that rest has really proven well for him, coming into this season with such a determination to be that dominant player that he's always been.
All right, Allison, circling back to a week from Monday, the 29th, what do you want the public to do? How can we help out? We see him moving the potatoes, but what can we do? And how will this perhaps, I know you don't want to give away too much of what's coming down the pipe, but what can the public do to get behind you at Second Harvest Heartland?
Well, I always say the only good thing about this issue is that everyone can help and make a difference. And we're really at the point in terms of need. The need is skyrocketing again. We need everyone at the table to make a difference. And so you can come in and volunteer like Coach and his team does. That makes a difference because we are, in the last year, we've distributed more than 140 million pounds of food. Repacking that like Coach and his coaching staff have done for us makes a difference. So sign up for a volunteer shift. Use your voice to advocate for strong hunger relief policies. And if you can give financially, it makes such a difference. And I think we have, as one of the largest hunger relief organizations in the country, we can leverage dollars like a lot of organizations can't. So we make your dollar go a long way, and if you can give, we certainly appreciate it so much. But so many ways to give back.
Well, and that being on the board of governors and the directors, where the things are going, right? So you see how efficient this operation is.
I mean, it's impressive when you see it up close. The facility alone is amazing. It's world class in its scope and its efforts. One thing I'm super passionate about is leadership. I love learning about leadership. I love kind of improving my leadership. And I know in Allison here we have an incredible leader, someone who's extremely driven. When you go up there, you can feel the energy in the building. You can feel the passion for the work through her staff, and the mission. It's a big one, but there's no better person to lead us than Allison here. And when you get to know her, you'll know that she just will not take no for an answer. So.
Which is why we're here.
Exactly, because I was like, really? He's coming in on a Sunday after they just played OKC, and he's got 4 games tomorrow. I mean, somebody was the driving factor. And now you can see how well you get things done.
Yeah, well, it's fun. And I mean, it's not ever a hard ask with Coach, honestly, which makes it fun. And it's fun to team up. I'm not sure, looking back, if we ever thought either of us would be in these situations, but teaming up is, I'm really grateful for his leadership on our board, but also on the court and in the community. It makes a difference for us, especially as we are diving in, to be big and bold and to take on big goals for this community. We need to do it, and it makes a difference when someone like Coach is by your side. Yeah,
no doubt about it. And really, it's all about the way you guys keep pushing yourself and you're pushing your team. There's a lot of naysayers out there in your world and in yours. I mean, you got Charles Barkley on TNT still not believing. Does that affect you or your players at all when teams still say, well, they're on top there, but these are the teams we think are going to come out at the end?
No, it doesn't. I mean, I think one of the things we all have to stay focused on is, what we can control and inside and, things that we believe to be true and repeatable. I love that show, but it should come with a disclaimer that says for entertainment purposes only. And hey, listen, I'm happy to kind of stay on the outside of it all, and it's up to us to keep proving people wrong in that way. And it makes sense. We're new on the scene, but we also believe that we have a real chance to do something special this season.
And we're here to stay, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you both so much, proving all the naysayers wrong on both accounts. And we look forward to what your plan is a week from Monday, because
Thank you.
I'm sure it'll be pretty entertaining and make a big impact in this community.
We hope so. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you
folks,
very much.
Thanks so much.
I appreciate it.
Really
Thank you.
appreciate
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in, and we